Right, we promised you a little bit of Bruno Fernandes. He's currently speaking in Portuguese with a German translation, which isn't great, but we have got James Savundra, who's got a little bit of what he said. So
well, I can't claim to speak either of those languages, but there are some quotes that are emerging from this press conference right now involving Bruno Fernandes. He said there was an opportunity, referring to this potential move to Al Hilal. The president called me and asked if I wanted to go there. They were waiting for me. I spoke to Amorim. He asked me not to go. Manchester United didn't want to sell me. They don't need the money. If I'd wanted to leave, they would have made it happen. There's some more quotes as well. This is really interesting because we spoke about the fact that Bruno Fernandes was going to speak to his family before making the decision. Well, he gives a little bit of insight into that there. He says, Al Hilal were very kind. They spoke to my agent. Then I spoke to my wife. She asked, what do you want to do? She always supports my decisions. It would have been easy to move there. I know the Portuguese players there very well, but I want to play at the highest level and compete for major titles. I can do that. I still want to. I'm very passionate about football. So there is Bruno Fernandes speaking about his decision to turn down the money from Al Hilal, the opportunity to potentially treble his current earnings he has at Manchester United. It looks like he's set to stay at Manchester United. And there he is explaining why he's decided to turn down potentially £750,000 a year. At 30 years of age, the United captain is set to remain at the club.
What do you make of it, Mark? Because £100 million is a lot of money, and you can do a fair bit of a rebuild with £100 million. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think this is basically two parts to the decision, isn't there? Because Manchester United will probably think, on one hand, 100 million for a 30-plus-year-old is great business for us. Therefore, it makes sense to sell him, and we can reinvest that money. The other thing is a footballing decision, and they'll say, well, hang on a second, you know, this is our captain, this is our leader, this has been our most consistent player over the course of the last few seasons. Without Bruno Fernandes in that Manchester United team, where would we be? You know, he has been so influential. He's been an ever-present, misses very, very few games. So therefore, from a footballing perspective, we need this guy right now, and we're going to go for a rebuild, then we need him to be a part of it. When you look at the money that he's turned down, I have so much respect for him, because it's not easy to turn down that kind of cash, because it is life-changing. Even though he's a multi-millionaire, when someone's putting on the table that kind of money that can transform your family's life forever, and you can go to a completely different place financially, you have to respect him. I think he had a brilliant relationship with the Manchester United fans. They absolutely loved him. And when he's made a decision like this and put that football club first before himself, and made a footballing decision, not a financial one, I think it shows you a lot about his mindset, his mentality, type of character and person he is. And if Manchester United have him in the middle of the pitch under that new rebuild and under this new look Ruben Amorim team, it gives them a real chance. So I have so much respect for that kind of decision, because it wouldn't be easy.
It's such an encouraging statement, isn't it? Because you look at where Manchester United were only a few days ago, the 21st of May, that £100 million match against Tottenham. They lost that game and it felt like United couldn't get any worse. It felt like, where on earth did this football club go from here? There's some that have covered the club, some that have been fans for more than 50 years saying, I've never felt this low as a Manchester United fan. Well, in the space of the last few days, their captain has confirmed his future. He's committed himself to this football club. What a statement of intent that is, how encouraging that is, that the captain, who's got the opportunity to go and earn a ridiculous sum of money elsewhere, believes in the project when so many seem to have lost faith in that project. He believes in Ineos, he believes in Ruben Amorim as their head coach, signing Mateus Cunha over the course of the last few days as well. It feels like United have gone from rock bottom to being in a place where fans can maybe start to feel slightly optimistic about the future of this football club, but potentially with Brian and Bumo coming in as well. So for United, this is absolutely huge. Yes, they could have made a huge amount of money from selling Bruno Fernandes, but you'd argue the money that they bring in, would they spend that wisely? And is it worth losing this man for free in 4 years' time when he's got them back to where they need to be?
Well, I can tell you that Gary Neville agrees with you, because he's been speaking about all the misery at United and how this sent a positive message.
It's significant. I think that the money that was on the table was big, so I think that there was an element of this situation that meant that United getting that level of money for someone at Bruno's age, obviously you couldn't say that it would have been a bad deal, but on the other hand, Manchester United's star player, only player at times, for the last sort of 4, 5, 6 years has been Bruno Fernandes. He's the one player that I can point towards that's been a success. Him staying at the club, Cunha coming in, does give them a couple of players with personality that might just make a difference next season, hopefully. It would have been easy for him at the end of this season to say, look, I'm done here. there will have been a huge amount of money on the table for him to go over to Saudi. But the fact that he's stayed, I think, will endear himself towards Manchester United fans even more, and even towards me. I mean, obviously I'm a United fan, but the idea that to turn that money down, and at a point where Manchester United are at their lowest ebb, and say, no, I want to fight through this, I want to see it through the other side, I want to come out and achieve things, I think says a lot about him as a person, as a character, and I think United fans will warm to that, because at this moment in time the club needs people who are going to run through a brick wall for them, and I think the decision he's made this morning, or it feels like he's made this morning, I think that's something that will become apparent.
Yeah, Gary Neville, it's all well and good that the captain stays, everyone's happy, but United want to invest and want to spend, and we know the trouble they've been in because we've seen all the cuts. So how do they get players in the door when they could have had £100 million worth of players in the door?
I think Manchester United are Manchester United, one of the biggest institutions in the world. And regardless of whether they're playing Champions League, Europa League, or even Europa Conference League football,
or no European
football, there will be players queuing up to join that football club because of its recent history, because of what Sir Alex Ferguson created. It's a juggernaut of a football club that's lost its way. But you get the feeling that it won't be like that forever. Now, they have good people at the football club, they have ambitious coaching staff, they have players, and they have a captain that's passionate about the Old Trafford project. One player we have been speaking about that potentially could be departing, Anthony, Marcus Rashford, Kobbie Mainoo. There are players there that have value. The big thing Manchester United fans will be saying is, what,